King Solomon and the Egyptians. King Solomon of the tribe of Judah would also marry into the Egyptian Pharaoh bloodline. 1 Kings 3:1. And Solomon made affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David until he had made an end of building his own house, and the house of the Lord, and the wall of Jerusalem round about. 1 Kings 9:16. For Pharaoh, king of Egypt, had gone up and taken Gezer, and burnt it with fire, and slain the Canaanites that dwelt in the city, and given it for a present unto his daughter, Solomon's wife. From the scriptures above, we see that the ancient Hebrews, children of Israel, also had Egyptian blood in them by way of King Solomon, tribe of Judah, and Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh. We also see how frequent and easily the children of Egypt ventured into Africa, Egypt. All throughout the Bible, we see how the children of Israel ventured into Egypt. Joseph and all his brothers, Moses, Jesus, and Solomon all went back and forth into Egypt for various reasons. Never did they go up north to Europe or to the Far East. Most often, you would expect to see neighboring countries that have people that look similar in appearance. Countries such as North Korea, South Korea, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Spain, Portugal, Iraq, Iran, and Ethiopia, Eritrea, all look alike. So wouldn't we expect the Egyptians, Israelites, Ethiopians, and the Canaanites to all look alike? Why would we expect the Hebrew Israelites to look totally different from their neighboring distant cousins? This would be a shock to the people of Egypt to see a race of white people enter into their kingdom and then to offer them positions next to the Pharaoh without them having to conquer the Egyptians in order to get it. Moses and Joseph both gained enough popularity with the Egyptians to rise high up in the ranks of the pharaohs. But what about when the Israelites were led out of Egypt by Moses? It says in the Bible that Joseph and the children of Israel walked from the land of Canaan into Egypt with a number of 60 to 70 people. It then states that after 430 years, they left over 2 million in number. Exodus 1:5. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. Genesis 46:46. All the souls that came with Jacob into Egypt, which came out of his loins, besides Jacob's sons' wives, all the souls were 66, 66. And the sons of Joseph, which were born him in Egypt, were 2 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob, which came into Egypt, were 70, 70. 60 = 60 plus 10 = 70. Deuteronomy 10:22. Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons, 70. And now the Lord thy God hath made thee as the stars of heaven for multitude. Interestingly, in the New Testament, the number changes to 75. Is this the inaccuracy of the translations of man? It has to be the inaccuracies of man because God doesn't make mistakes. The Europeans wrote and translated most of our English Bibles all the way up to our well-known King James Bible. Acts 7:14. Then sent Joseph, and called his father Jacob to him, and all his kindred, 15 souls. 60 = 60 plus 15 = 75. When the Israelites left out of Egypt, the scriptures records at least 600,000 fighting men over 20 years old, not accounting women and children, as read below. Numbers 1:45-46. So were all those that were numbered of the children of Israel, by the house of their fathers, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war in Israel. Even all they that were numbered were 600,000 and 3,550. Exodus 12:37. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men, beside children. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks, and herds, even very much cattle. One can only assume that if there were 600,000 fighting men over the age of 20 that left Egypt during the Exodus, that there should be an equal number of women even if they didn't all have wives. This would make 1.2 million Israelites, not including children or men that were too young or too old to fight. This could easily make 2 million Israelites that left in the Exodus. For the Israelites to grow from 70 to over 2 million in 430 years, it would mean that the Israelites had to have intermarried with the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Nubians, or Libyans that may have lived in the land. In addition, it also says in the scripture above that when the Israelites left Egypt, they were a mixed multitude. The black Egyptians and the black Philistines. The ancient Philistines were descendants of the black Egyptians. Many people believe that the Philistines were a part of the Canaanites because they lived in Canaan, modern-day Palestine/Lebanon. This is false. As we learned earlier, Mizraim was the father of all the ancient black Egyptians. Mizraim also helped birth the Philistines. Read below. Genesis 10:13 through 14. And Mizraim begat Ludim, and Anamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtahim, and Pathrusim, and Casluhim, out of whom came Philistim, and Captorim. 1 Chronicles 1:12. And Mizraim begat Ludim, and Anamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtahim, and Pathrusim, and Casluhim, of whom came the Philistines, and Captorim. Jeremiah 47:4. Because of the day that comes to spoil all the Philistines, and to cut off Tyrus, Tyre, Lebanon, and Sidon, Lebanon, every helper that remains for the Lord will spoil the Philistines, the remnant of the country of Captor. So the scriptures associate the Philistines with the cities of Tyre, Tyrus, and Zidon, which are in modern-day Lebanon, Phoenicia. The Philistines back in ancient times inhabited most of the Mediterranean coastal areas of the land of Canaan. For this reason, the ancient Philistines and the ancient Phoenicians were referred to as the Sea Peoples. The Mediterranean Sea was the body of water that the Philistines and the Phoenicians sailed on. The Philistines also were known in the Bible to have occupied the land of Captor, as stated in Amos 9:7. Captor has been associated with the island of Crete, or Cyprus, in the Mediterranean Sea. Many archaeologists have proven that the ancient Minoan Cretans were black, as proven by the pictures they drew of themselves on rock walls. The women are most of the time always drawn as white, perhaps as a trick to discredit the black appearance of this country, or because the black Cretans took female slaves, concubines, from northern European countries. This can be seen with doing a little research. The men are always depicted on the rock drawings as brown, black people. Amos 9:7. Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel, saith the Lord? Have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Captor, and the Syrians from Ker? The Sea Peoples were associated in ancient Egyptian reliefs as the Jeker people. The Jeker were people who lived in the land of Canaan during 12 BC. Many historians believed that the Jeker people were descendants of the ancient Philistines of the Bible, while others believed them to be descendants of the Canaanite/Phoenician people. The Jeker people fought with the Egyptians, Pharaoh Ramses III, as evident in the Medinet Habu, mortuary temple of Ramses III, relief pictures on the walls in Egypt. They are depicted on these reliefs as brown-skinned people, with skin tones the same or darker than the neighboring Egyptians, who were their biblical brothers/cousins. The Jeker people were believed to have founded the port city of Dor, a city in northern Israel/Palestine, which was the land that Joshua would give to the tribe of Manasseh, the tribe of Ephraim, and the tribe of Asher. The Israelites were unsuccessful in driving out these people as indicated in the scriptures. Joshua 12:23. The king of Dor and the coast of Dor, 1. The king of the nations of Gilgal. Joshua 17:11. And Manasseh had in Issachar and in Asher Bethshan and her towns, and Ibleam and her towns, and the inhabitants of Dor and her towns. Yet the children of Manasseh could not drive out the inhabitants of those cities, but the Canaanites would dwell in that land. Yet, as it came to pass, that when the children of Israel were waxing strong, that they put the Canaanites to tribute, acknowledged them, but did not utterly drive them out. Judges 1:27. Neither did Manasseh drive out the inhabitants of Bethshan and her towns, nor Tanakh and her towns, nor the inhabitants of Dor and her towns. The city of Dor, sometimes spelled Dora or Teldor, still exists in Israel to the west of Megiddo, Battle of Armageddon. In the Bible, the judges from the tribe of Dan, Samson, often did battle and dwelt among the Philistines. The territory of Dan was right below the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh. King David from the tribe of Judah also did battle and dwelt among the Philistines. The book of Joshua proves that the black Canaanites and black Philistines, now this land is modern-day Palestine, lived with the black Hebrew Israelites. Egyptian president admits the original Jews, Hebrews, were black. Lastly, it is mind-blowing to find that the second president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, in 1952, quoted this about the European Jews shortly after the State of Israel was created in 1948. You will never be able to live here in peace because you left here black and came back white. Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser, 1952. Now, why would an Egyptian Arab president in 1952 say this if it did not have any validity behind it? What does he have to gain by saying that the Hebrews left black and came back white when Israel was created in 1948? President Gamal Nasser wasn't even black, so he is not trying to prove that the Arabs are the original Hebrews. I always thought the majority of the world, including the Arab population, believed that the ancient Hebrews and Jesus were white. Blacks never have gotten credit for anything other than the fact that we were once stolen from Africa to be slaves across the whole world. What does he know that black people do not know about the heritage and physical appearance of the ancient Israelites? If an African American today were to tell a Jewish person in America that he was a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah, he would most likely be laughed at or asked to prove it. But what if African Americans started asking white European Jews to prove their Jewishness? What would they say? That their mother was a Jew? How does anyone know if their mother is a Jew? From a last name? And what is a Jew in comparison to a Hebrew Israelite? Going by a last name is not considered accurate family records, especially if it has been historically proven that the Jews changed their last names in Europe and even continue to do so in America. There should be more proof behind it. Even the Bible doesn't talk about the Jews being white. Most African Americans do not claim themselves to be Jews because we have been taught that we are Gentiles. This is false teaching. However, we have proof that the Hebrews were black, just as the Egyptians were black, by looking at the ancient drawings in Egypt. The Hebrews may have not drawn pictures of themselves, but other people, like the Egyptians, Assyrians, and Babylonians did. Other races of people during the time before and after Jesus accounted actual proof that the Hebrews, Ethiopians, Egyptians, and Canaanites were alike in appearance. Do we need more proof? The Bible says that the children of Israel intermarried with the Egyptians as well as other black nations. This was admitted by Ezra the Levite during the rebuilding of Solomon's temple in and around 400 to 500 BC. Again, read below.